If you're an e-com brand owner, email is easily the most powerful tool at your disposal to scale your business in 2025 and beyond, which is why in this video, I'm going to show you the email funnel that will add an additional 10 to 50% of revenue onto your business. This is the exact same email funnel that brands such as Ray-Ban and Lululemon use to unlock 9 figures of revenue every single year. I'm going to give you everything you need to attract and nurture customers and drive them to that first and multi-repeat purchases through email. Okay, so as you can see, we've got the methods of acquisition at the top of the email funnel, creating the traffic and sending them into the website. We've got the ads, the SEO, the influencer, etc., all channeling into one place. And as you can see here, we have quite a big problem. So 97% of traffic are leaving your website without purchasing. They are bouncing, they are leaving your site and forgetting about you. This is actually quite generous from what I've seen with the clients I've worked with. 97%, 3% conversion rate is fairly good, but nevertheless, we need a way to patch the holes in this leaky bucket, which is where email marketing comes in. With a good pop-up form, we can convert 10 to 12% of traffic. So, for every 1,000 visitors, we get between 100 and 1,200, which is fairly good from what I have seen in my experience. And I've attached some pop-up forms here just so that we get a sense of what a good pop-up form and what a bad pop-up form might look like when you come to create yours. And so we've got a clear winner here, and it's this one. And I'll just quickly explain why. So with the other two, especially with this one, there are just too many things going on. The goal with a pop-up form is to really just smooth the process by which somebody enters their email and enters your email list. Essentially, when there's too much copy, when there are too many input fields, when the copy isn't clear, that creates friction for somebody to enter their email and enter your email list. This copy here especially is very unclear. This yes, no actually submits the email or closes the form, and it's just not clear enough, which is not good. And again, we've got the second pop-up form here, and that is a little bit better. It's a bit cleaner, a bit simpler, but again, people are not really going to read this. People just want to be there. They want to decide for themselves what they like and what they don't like. They're not going to sit there and read that. We're just creating friction for somebody to add their email. The correct approach is one input field that just asks for their email address with clear copy saying what the incentive is, and copy that, on the call to action, it makes it very, very clear what's happening when you enter your email address, makes people more confident to enter their email address. And secondly, we've got this copy here, the I'll pay maximum price. I've found that to work very effectively because it essentially implies that, you would be stupid not to accept this incentive that we're offering here. So we come back to the funnel. So once we've got this pop-up form converting 10 to 12% of traffic, we've got people entering our email list. And Klaviyo, or whatever your ESP is, then will segment this email list according to the variables that you input. Now, the point of a good segment is to cater to a specific audience with specific needs. So my personal approach is to send to as wide an audience as possible. So we've got variables like past purchaser, people who are yet to purchase, people who have engaged with the email, so opened it in the past 30, 60, or 90 days, the VIP segment, high or low average order value, and some variables as well. And all of this essentially just allows us to send more personalized emails to specific groups of people within our list. This is more effective when you have a slightly larger list, but nonetheless, it can be very useful when we are driving a certain message to a certain group of people. So with the email segments determining what kind of email goes to what kind of person, we then want to create and set up our flows. So once we've asked the question whether they have purchased or not, that will determine a lot about what kind of flow people receive. We've got the most important flow, the welcome flow. So that is when people input their email address into the pop-up form, they will receive this sequence of emails. Now, a lot of brand owners are quite surprised when they see we've got 8 emails going out to new subscribers. But essentially what it allows us to do is to elongate the window of time for somebody to convert and become a customer. And so maybe people aren't ready to buy on this first welcome email that they receive, but if they spend a long enough time with our brand, being exposed to our messaging and learning more about us with some background story, with some, product benefits, with some use cases and that kind of thing. If we keep promoting our incentive as well, people will be ready to buy on this 7th or 8th email. And so we aim to see consistently strong conversions for all 8 of these emails, because over time, people are just more and more exposed to our brand. They're more and more ready to make that purchase. And so once they've been through our welcome flow, maybe they visit our site, and we probably want them to see some of our PDPs of our most popular products. So some of these emails will prompt them to visit our customer favorites, perhaps. And once they've browsed a specific product, we'll send them a sequence of emails, potentially with our discount and some of our, social proof and that kind of thing, prompting them to add to cart. And somebody who has viewed a product once or twice will receive a different set of messaging to somebody who has viewed a product 3, 4, or 5 times. With that different level of intent, it just requires a different level of messaging. And once they've added to cart, many customers will abandon them. And that is a big issue in e-com especially. And so we really want to prompt people to enter that checkout stage. And so some of these emails will obviously be some social proof and some testimonials of how good the product that they added to cart is. With a dynamic block in Klaviyo, you can send them an email with the product that they've added to cart in there. But essentially, we are aiming to get people out of a cart abandon into checkout abandon. And lastly, when people have entered the checkout but not necessarily bought, a lot of the time this is because they've seen some shipping costs or some other complications that they weren't aware of before. And so we can use that to our advantage and use this messaging to reverse some of those risks that they have in their head about purchasing from us. And once they've purchased, we can send them even more emails. So the post-purchase, after they have bought, we want to ask them to maybe add something extra to their order, add something extra to their shipment. We could add some product use cases, some product benefits, reverse that post-purchase remorse that a lot of people who are buying online will feel. We can add some emails about, how to use the product specifically, what best use case there is, and that kind of thing. And again, the messaging to somebody who has bought for the first time will be different to the messaging for somebody who is making repeat purchases. Additionally, we've got that review request flow, and lastly, we've got the win back and sunset flow. So this is for essentially cleaning our list. So when people are at risk of, just being quite dormant and not really engaging a lot, we want to send a win back flow, which is essentially like a warning shot. We want to get people back into the fold before they reach the sunset stage. So we might use an additional discount or something special just to get them back into that engagement and increase the likelihood that they will purchase or purchase again. And lastly, this flow is for people who, having gone through the win-back flow, are clearly just not engaging with us. We'll probably send them that discount again, but the point of this flow is to clean our list. So a dormant email list is something to be avoided at all costs because it has an awful effect on our reputability, our domain reputability. So when our open rates drop, the chances of us landing in the main inbox again are decreased. So we only want people on our list who are actually going to engage with us. And so you will have probably been able to work it out, but with our flows, we are covering off every single stage of the customer journey from introduction to departure. All of the stages are covered off for first and second time purchases. And so these are converting customers while we sleep. We don't have to do anything for this. And that is what's so good about email flows, is that once you have a good system working for your business, it's just working for you without any input. And so the other half of the equation is campaigns. So once we've got our flows set up, we want to start focusing on our campaigns. So I recommend sending 2 to 3 every week. And again, a lot of people see that as quite a lot, and I understand why people would say that. However, the approach that I think is best to take is to lead with the value. I'm sure if you went to your email inbox right now and had a look in your promotions tab, it would be full of, discounts and sales and that kind of thing. And they definitely have their place, but I find that leading with value rather than leading with sales actually generates more reputability and more revenue in the long term. And so I like to lead with this formula. So value plus positioning. Gonna have to write positioning. That will do. Equals sales. And that is the leading philosophy behind my approach to campaigns. Essentially, when we give something to somebody that they will benefit from without being associated with our brand, it actually boosts the reputability of our brand even more, because it is of their own fruition that they decide to associate our brand with that value that we're providing. So there's some campaign ideas here, some how it's made, myths versus facts, industry secrets, lifestyle tips, and that kind of thing. But essentially what we want to be doing is, let's say we have a fashion brand. We want to be giving people tips on their wardrobe. We want to be giving people tips on their lifestyle, how to have a more effective morning routine, how to pair items efficiently, that kind of thing. And so once we do that, we can then send this 2 to 3 per week quite comfortably. And I think one of the things that I like to say to people is that people get annoyed by their emails based on what they are being emailed with rather than how often they're being emailed. If you think about it logically, if you have something of immense value, it doesn't make sense to keep that hidden. If people are genuinely benefiting from the thing that you are saying, the thing that you are giving them, why on earth would they get annoyed by that? Why on earth would they complain that that is spam? And so essentially we've got two sides to this email strategy that are focusing on the same thing. And so both of these combined are incredibly effective in generating that first time purchase. But what's great about email is that once people are in our list, we can then retarget them for free. So after they have made their first purchase, they just go back up here into our flows and campaigns, and it essentially loops round. So they've made their first purchase, back into the flows and the campaigns, they become repeat purchases, and it happens again. So maybe they go through a flow, that kind of thing, and it just becomes this big flywheel of sales and profit for you and your brand. And so lastly, I just want to highlight some of the additional benefits of using email with your ecom brand. So these are some of the additional benefits that you'll expect to see once you implement a strong email system. So the average order value will increase. So we've got that post-purchase email. We've got those additional promotions that we can use in the flows. Repeat purchases increase. So like I was showing you, after somebody purchases, they're still in the email list. And so those campaigns will likely drive even more purchases from them. And the purchase likelihood increases as well. So like I told you at the very beginning, that traffic that might have, left the site and forgotten about your brand will be more likely to buy from you as well. And so this, in turn, reduces the dependency on paid media. And so for every dollar of ad spend that goes out of your account, you are less dependent on that channel because you've got a strong retention marketing system on your side. So essentially that $1 of ad spend just goes that bit further. And what that means is that your cost per acquisition will go down like that. And all of this culminates in the golden ratio for e-commerce businesses, which is the lifetime value to cost of acquired customer ratio. And so the lifetime value is increasing because we've got those additional benefits of AOV increase, repeat purchases, and increased likelihood of purchase without spending anything extra on advertising. And then we've got the cost of acquired customer going down because we are less dependent on those channels. And for every dollar of ad spend, we get more return. And that is what defines profitability. I'm going to put that in green, profitability. And so that is email marketing in a nutshell, really. In this simple diagram, we sort of have everything that there is to understand about an effective email marketing system. And so I've covered quite a lot of strategy in this video, but it will essentially be useless to you unless you have, some tactics and technical know-how in implementing it into your ESP. And so if you want all of my technical email knowledge in one document, then you can grab the Ultimate Email Marketing Guide in the description. It contains all of the frameworks, tactics, and resources that you'll need to skyrocket your email-based revenue in 2025. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one.